Hey guys, Charles Henson here with Siren Security. I want to talk to you today about the FTC Safeguards Rule. There's 9 elements that you need to be concerned with. Designate a qualified individual, document a risk assessment, applying controls, validating the controls that you applied, developing a training program for your team, monitor your service provider. That's right. I have an IT guy, doesn't fit anymore. It's like we have a company taking care of that. Who's monitoring that company and making sure they're doing everything they're supposed to be doing? Develop a continuous improvement cadence. So here's what we found. Here's what we know needs to be fixed. Here's what we fixed. And it's a continual improvement of what you're doing. Document an incident response plan. So if you have an incident or when you have an incident, what is it that you're going to do? Who's going to be responsible for each piece of that? Instead of just walking to your office and saying, wow, we have ransomware. What do we do now? Right? It's creating that incident response plan and putting that out there for everyone to know where it is, just in case you're on vacation, whatever. And then providing an annual report, either to senior leadership or to the board of directors. Now, you may think, well, I'm a sole proprietor or I only have 3 people. You still have to have this reporting for every single year because the FTC is getting really sticky on what they're doing. So today we're going to talk about the risk assessment that we're running on clients' machines. And a lot of people are like, well, what is a risk assessment? But first you're like, well, who is this guy talking to me? Well, my name is Charles Henson. I'm the owner of Siren Security. I've been in the IT industry since 1991. So I've been around for a long time. I had the old Microsoft MCSE back in the day certification. And I've evolved through owning National Computer and now owning Siren Security. I have also been in the documentary Cybercrime, which is a documentary on cybercrime, what's happening, what's out there. It is on Amazon Prime, so you can go check it out. It is family friendly. It's great for anybody of all ages to go watch. Then I've created the MSSP playbook. This is a guide and step-by-step information for IT companies and managed service providers in the industry to protect themselves and lock down their systems and then protect their clients. So I've been educating a lot of other IT companies out there, but today I want to come and talk to you about a risk assessment. What does that look like? Now, you may think, I don't need a risk assessment. I'm a small firm. You know, I only have 3 users, or maybe I'm 2 people. Maybe I have 10 employees. Maybe I have 150. It doesn't matter the size of your firm. You need to have a risk assessment to make sure that you have all the safeguards taken care of and things in place so that you can start working to prepare your security systems before that June 9th deadline. The thing about a risk assessment is it's non-invasive, meaning you get us on the phone. We're going to walk you through a couple of different things that we want you to do, less than a 10-minute phone call. We're going to have you run a couple of items on our behalf, and then we'll do the work on the back end. And then we'll come back to you within about 4 or 5 days, and we'll give you the findings. But what's in those findings? So I want to share with you today what is actually from a 3-user firm here in town. And what we found when we ran this was they had some things that they thought were taken care of, but they were actually high risk, and the company was not actually taking care of the way that they thought they were. So first of all, we need to understand that we're going to teach you what it is that happens during the risk assessment, but we're also going to educate you on what needs to happen within your office. So they say that 19.8% of employees will actually click on a link when it comes through, and 91% of a cyber attacks still come through a phishing email. So we want to talk about training and methods of how attackers get in so that we can safeguard that. We also talk about file safety, file security on your network. What is there? What can be done? One simple little change of adding quotes in this, and I don't want to get technical on it, but adding quotes at the beginning and end of this will not allow a hacker to actually circumvent the system on these particular file directories. Now, we look at the accounts that are on your systems, and what we find is we have multiple people in this instance that are actually administrators. And as you know, an administrator can do anything and everything on a network. So we'll talk about that. We look at the backups and make sure that they can actually be restored from and that they're working. We've seen cases where people have said, you know, hey, we have ransomware. We go look and their backups haven't worked in almost 2 years. There's horror stories out there happening every single day. You don't know if it's not working or if it is working unless somebody's checking on it and reporting on it. Then we look at user accounts that actually have a high risk. These are local admin accounts that can share information across all the PCs because they exist on every computer. We also look on the dark web to see if there's any passwords that have actually been hacked and exposed on the dark web. And what we find is this one card or this information has been used multiple times on multiple sites. And we take a deeper dive into that and say, you know what, we really need to educate these users on password hygiene because they're using the same passwords multiple times in multiple places. And again, we just run through this and we let you know that, look, wouldn't you like to know that the keys to your home or your office were duplicated before you walk in and you see a criminal there in your living room or in your office? Wouldn't you like to know that those keys are duplicated? And then we look at, like, how do you bypass multi-factor authentication? Do we have any rogue tokens that are out there? And if so, we talk about how do we get rid of those? We look at the 365 authentication, as well as we look at making sure that you have multi-factor authentication. And then we look at the patches that are on your systems. Do they allow for an opening where a hacker could gain control of those systems? Again, these are high-risk issues. We look at, what could a hacker exploit on these devices? And these are simple things to fix. And the problem is, a lot of people just assume that their patches are run. They assume that their computers are up to date, and they assume that their antivirus is kept up to date because, hey, it's set to automatic. But what we're finding is more and more systems are not up to date as you might think they are. So we look at different things of, if a password is attacked and a system is compromised, would you even be alerted, or could they be on your system for 6 to 9 months without you even know they have access to your systems? We also look at the firewall and see if it can pass traffic as through HTTPS or non. And we look at see if it can pass encrypted data, or if we can just copy information straight out. It's called data loss protection. We want to make sure that users can't just send credit card information or other personal identifiable information through the firewall. So we look at all of these high risk external IPs. Is there any risk there? And then we talk about the education that needs to be in place for all users to do the continual education and continual learning. Cybercrime happens because users fall victim, and typically the IT company can come in. We can set all the tools in place, but if a user comes in and clicks something, it can bypass our security. Kind of like your kids, if they were to open a window and let a friend climb in at night and you had no idea they were there, is that a friend or foe? Well, it's a friend of your kids, but it's a foe to the parent because you didn't want them in your property. So we look at these different things, and then we're like, okay, if the machine walks away, is the data encrypted? Because if it's not encrypted, then that's considered a security breach, and you have to report that. But if the laptop is encrypted and it gets stolen, then you don't have to report that. So there's different things that we look at as far as like the C drive, the different drives on there, how you're using USB drives, how you're transporting that data around, and is that information encrypted or is it not encrypted? The question to you is, what's hiding in your network and you really don't know what is hiding and what's not? We've created a free report. I welcome you all to visit sirensecurity.us, fill out the form, and let us know if you'd like to have a risk assessment. We're offering a few complimentary risk assessments. We've partnered with a company, a third party, and they're offering these risk assessments in a limited number for a limited amount of prospects. So give us a call. 615-624-9690. Again, that's 615-624-9690, or check out sirensecurity.us. Thank you.